everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Trish. I am an ambulatory wheelchair user, and I use this channel to share what my day-to-day life is like. In today's video, I am going to share a very personal aspect of my life with you. I want to share what it's like living with Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, and that is EDS for short. There are several types. As of right now, I am diagnosed with HEDS, which is one of the types that does not have a genetic test. That being said, I have genetic testing processing, so I could find out I have a different type. Before I get started, I want to say that nothing in this video is medical advice, and that the experiences I'm going to share are personal to me. So, someone else living with the same disorder may experience it differently. I also want to say that if you subscribe because you like all my fun videos where I travel places, don't unsubscribe. They're coming back. I get out less this time of year and I haven't been feeling real great. So, I have not been able to get out of the house. I do hope to leave the house soon, and I have some exciting travel plans I'll be sharing with you soon. For those of you who are not familiar with what EDS is, it is a connective tissue disorder. It affects how the body processes collagen, and it impacts the skin, the joints, and a lot of organs. There are several subtypes. I am not going to go over all of those. As I mentioned earlier, the ones my doctor thinks I have right now is HEDS. I have an extreme amount of hypermobility. And you may notice, if you watch these videos, I kind of always am like this. My joints do weird things. And that hypermobility over a lifetime causes a lot of issues. Being extremely flexible may sound cool, but it actually comes with a lot of complications. I have several coexisting conditions that are common with EDS, so I have a lot of symptoms to deal with on a daily basis. I have gastroparesis, I have pancreatic insufficiency, I have POTS, I have Raynaud's, and I'm probably missing a few if we're honest. And all these kind of go hand in hand. I have an autoimmune disorder that is breaking down my bones. I'm getting like tiny fractures in my bones. And although there is research lacking to tie the autoimmune disorders to EDS, the doctor that treats my EDS and that diagnosed me is an EDS patient herself and says that there is a strong overlapping between having a condition like psoriatic arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis and having EDS. I have chronic pain and weakness daily. So sometimes just moving around the house feels like an intense workout. So dislocations and subluxations, and I apologize if I said that wrong, are pretty common for me. And that makes every movement a hazard. My knees and my hips are the worst. And some days my knee, I have to physically put it back in place. There's a loud pop 10 times. It's not good. And it hurts. I have known I have had joint hypermobility for a very long time. And I've had complications of that joint hypermobility for a very long time, even though I was actually only diagnosed in August. To overcome all these challenges I'm talking about, I've had to make some adaptations in my day-to-day life. I use a wheelchair. I use it almost always when I'm out of the house unless I'm walking a very short distance, and I use it around the house at times as well. It helps me do things like cook, clean, stuff like that. I also use a walker or a cane. It really depends on what the situation is. Sometimes I take all of my mobility aids with me when I go away for the day because I just don't know what I'm going to need. And that really clutters up the car, but it is what it is. I have also, over years of dealing with this, found ways to do daily activities without too much pain. I time block, so I will do a task for like 10 minutes and then rest for at least a half an hour. I also like to prioritize. At the beginning of the day, I will make a list of what I want to get done, and I will put one or two things at the very top. Like today, putting away my daughter's laundry was at the very top of my list. As soon as she went to school, I did that. And then I know it's done because it really needed done. So even if I rested the rest of the day, that one task would be done. And that helps me a lot. Another way I adapt is allowing myself to do nothing some days, because that's needed. I can do more in a week if I take 1 to 2 days and don't move than I could if I tried to do things every day. And that is just how my body works. Recognizing that has taken a long time. Finding the perfect balance between productivity and rest is hard. And I don't think I've found that perfect balance yet, but I found a decent balance. Living with a chronic condition like EDS can also take a mental toll. The unpredictability and severity of symptoms is really discouraging. It's also discouraging not to know what's wrong with you, because it took me a long time to get a diagnosis, and I know that's the case for a lot of people. I was diagnosed with all the coexisting conditions, but there was never a condition that pulled it all together. And I had several doctors telling me there should be. So it is essential to prioritize self-care. It's also essential to seek support when needed. And that support might be friends, family, or even like a mental health professional. There is absolutely nothing wrong with getting the help of a counselor or a psychologist to help deal with chronic illness grief. And that is a big thing. That is something I talk about over on my Facebook page a lot. If you don't follow me on Facebook yet, you should. I really dive into a lot of issues that affect chronically ill people, and you can find that link in the description. Another thing that has really helped me is connecting to other people who have EDS. I joined some online support groups, and that is actually how I found the doctor that diagnosed me. Because I couldn't get a rheumatologist to take me. And not only do I have EDS, I also have an autoimmune disorder. I've gotten treatment for it now. I'm on a biologic. That part of the pain is getting better. And without that group, that would have never happened. Because I was getting rejected by rheumatologists after rheumatologists. They said they were too busy to see me, that my symptoms didn't line up with anything they treated. But this doctor walked in the room, saw the way I was sitting, looked at some old medical records, and was able to form a plan to get more testing, and she came up with a diagnosis rather quickly. And I found that through a Facebook group. So definitely, if you are watching this because you're curious about EDS, you think you have it, try to find a Facebook group specifically for your state and see if you can find some resources. Despite all the challenges, I have learned things through my time as a chronically ill person. I think living with EDS and all the conditions that go with it have made me more resilient, and I think they've made me kinder. I have been treated unkindly so much, whether it's because I'm disabled or by doctors. So I just go out of my way to be kind. And I'd like to think that I'd be this kind if I wasn't chronically ill, but honestly, I don't know. I've always been a nice person, but my illness has really shaped who I am. And I have been chronically ill since I was 21. And I had medical issues before that too, but like the seriousness of it hit when I was 21. So now I'm in my mid-30s. It's been a long time. It's impossible for that experience not to have had a core part in shaping me. Another thing it has taught me is to just embrace the good days, because not every day is good. And it's taught me to really make the most out of the moments that count. And really, that is why we travel so much. That is why we explore fun places in my family, because there may be weeks where I can't leave the house, but I want that time when I can to really count. The reason I decided to make this video, besides the fact that I don't feel up to leaving the house, is I really want to spread awareness about EDS. It's an underfunded condition, and it's a condition not a lot of people are aware of, even medical professionals. It's listed as a rare disease, but my doctor says it's not rare. My doctor said that she encounters quite a few patients who have EDS and who were neglected by other medical professionals. So she said it's not a rare disorder, it's an underdiagnosed disorder. Many people, such as myself, face difficulty getting a diagnosis and treatment. And now there is no medicine you can take. There are ways to make it a little better though. And like me, I didn't know I had an autoimmune disorder that was causing further breakdown of my bones. So that is treatable, and I'm getting treatment and I'm getting pain relief and eventually maybe more mobility. We haven't got there yet, but all that came from finding one knowledgeable healthcare provider. And if these issues were more widely talked about, if they were taught more about in medical school, then the struggle for people like me wouldn't be so bad. So I hope by getting personal with you, by sharing my story, that I can continue to raise awareness and help someone else. And if you are watching this because you have EDS or you think you have EDS, I want you to know you're not alone. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give it a like. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Every new subscriber I get lets me raise just a little bit more awareness. And I'd also love to hear your thoughts on the video in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I do this almost every day, so I'll see you soon.